White House responding tonight.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight with the epic battle already underway, the showdown at the Supreme Court. President Obama revealing his choice to replace Justice Scalia on the court, nominating Merrick Garland. The president aware of this nation's divided politics, but warning to go down that path would be wrong. Tonight, Senate Republicans vowing the nomination will go no further. At the Rose Garden ceremony, the president introducing Garland, a Court of Appeals judge long respected on both sides of the aisle, describing him as one of the nation's finest legal minds. But it was not long after Republicans said they will take no action. And tonight, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and his phone call to the judge. All of this says 63% of Americans in our most recent poll said the Senate should hold hearings on the Supreme Court nominee. ABC's Terry Moran, who has covered the court for years, is back at the court tonight.
After weeks of anticipation, there was President Obama striding into the Rose Garden, introducing his nominee.
I've made my decision.
Judge Merrick Garland standing quietly at the president's side, then stepping forward, the emotion of the moment overwhelming him.
This is the greatest honor of my life, other than Lynn agreeing to marry me 28 years ago.
His family there watching, minus daughter Becky.
I also wish that we hadn't taught my older daughter to be so adventurous that she would be hiking in the mountains out of cell service range when the president called.
For decades, Merrick Garland has been a prominent figure in American law. 63 years old, he's one of the oldest nominees ever. He is Chief Judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals in Washington, where he served for 18 years, and before that, a top federal prosecutor.
Associate Deputy Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Garland was there in Oklahoma City in 1995, as seen here in a video released by the White House today, leading the prosecution of Timothy McVeigh, a death penalty case. He carried the names of the victims with him everywhere he went while prosecuting that case.
We promised that we would find the perpetrators, that we would bring them to justice, and that we would do it in a way that honored the Constitution.
He also led the prosecution of the Unabomber. As a judge, Garland is known as a moderate on the appeals court, though he would tip the balance of the Supreme Court by replacing staunch conservative Antonin Scalia. Now he faces a partisan firestorm, and in the Rose Garden, President Obama began the fight for his nominee, speaking of the Supreme Court.
It's supposed to be above politics. It has to be, and it should stay that way.
Terry, we all heard the president there saying this is supposed to be above politics, but is a major political battle inevitable here, and did the president factor that in?
It is, David, and it looks like the president did factor that in. On his short list, he could have chosen a more strongly liberal candidate or a candidate offering diversity to rally the Democrats to the cause. But in Merrick Garland, the president has chosen a nominee who's had support from both sides of the political aisle over the years, who in any normal time would be confirmed. It's not a normal time. David?
Terry Moran live at the Supreme Court. Terry, thank you. On Capitol Hill tonight, our team went to ask Republicans who say this will go no further to ask why and if they would reconsider. ABC's Mary Bruce with what she heard.
Minutes after that Rose Garden ceremony, the Senate's top Republican declared Judge Garland's nomination was going nowhere.
It is the Senate's constitutional right to act as a check on a president and withhold its consent.
Republicans are insisting the pick should fall to the next president. Senator Cornyn, any chance of changing your mind?
None.
We chased down the Republican leaders who are refusing to hold hearings or a vote, including Orrin Hatch, who once praised Garland.
That he belongs on the court.
But today,
you said before that he belongs on the court. Why not at least consider him now?
I didn't say that he belongs on the Supreme Court. I said he belonged on the D.C. Circuit Court.
Why not at least have hearings and consider what has changed since then?
I think the Supreme Court's been politicized enough.
But late today, signs the Republican wall may be cracking. Mitch McConnell, who won't meet with Garland, speaking with him by phone. And now other Republicans say they will too, including the powerful committee chairman.
What are you looking to hear from him?
I don't know. He has to talk to me.
And Mary Bruce with us live tonight from Washington, getting answers from Republicans. But Republicans have an argument too, Mary, pointing to something Vice President Joe Biden once said about Supreme Court vacancies during an election year.
Yes, David, they call it the Biden rule, referring to the vice president's comments back in 1992, saying that Supreme Court vacancies should be treated differently during an election year. But today, Biden tweeting he only followed one rule when he was in the Senate, that every Supreme Court nominee get a hearing and a vote, period. David.
Mary Bruce with us tonight. Mary, thank you. And of course, all of this playing out as the heated race for the White House moves forward tonight. Donald Trump, fresh off major victories overnight, now warning of riots if the Republicans try to stop him at a contested convention. Trump winning several states, those in bright red on the map, but not winning Ohio, which makes it much harder for him to reach that magic number, the total delegates he needs to clinch the nomination before the convention. Trump now calling on the party to embrace him, saying you can't ignore the tens of thousands who've turned out for him. ABC's Tom Yamas with Trump's warning tonight.
Tonight, Donald Trump warning if the Republican establishment tries to block his nomination, there will be chaos at the convention.
I think you'd have riots. You know, I'm representing a tremendous, many millions of people. I think you would have problems like you've never seen before. I think bad things would happen. I really do. I believe that. I wouldn't lead it, but I think bad things would happen.
Trump's words come in with these images still fresh in American minds. Anger and violence at his campaign rallies. Trump now saying it's time for, quote, a natural healing process.
We have a great opportunity, and the people that are voting are Democrats are coming in, independents are coming in, and very, very importantly, people that never voted before. It's an incredible thing.
This morning, Florida Governor Rick Scott falling in line, endorsing Trump, telling other Republicans to accept and respect the will of the voters. But Ohio Governor John Kasich, fresh off a big victory in his home state, now vowing to fight all the way to the convention floor, but with a positive message.
I want to remind you again tonight that I will not take the low road to the highest office in the land.
One place we won't see the candidates clash, a debate stage. Today, Trump pulling out of Monday's showdown on Fox. Kasich then dropping out too.
I think we've had enough debates. How many times can the same people ask you the same question?
But today, Senator Ted Cruz, who thrives on debates, mocking Trump as ducking Donald.
And Tom Yamas with us live tonight. And Tom, with all the talk of a contested convention, there's the very real question of who could emerge as an alternative to Donald Trump. And today, House Speaker Paul Ryan making it clear it won't be him.
That's right, David. Speaker Ryan saying today, if you want to be president, you should run for president, and that there is no situation in which he will accept the party's nomination this year, including at the convention in Cleveland, David.
Tom Yamas live in Florida tonight. Tom, thanks as always. And now to the Democratic side tonight, Hillary Clinton with a string of victories, now pivoting to Donald Trump. 4 more victories for her overnight, all of those states in light blue on the map, but in Missouri still too close to call. Clinton, when asked by us if the idea of a difficult fight against Donald Trump gives her pause, she said no. Here's ABC's Cecilia Vega now.
The Democratic nomination now within arm's reach, and Hillary Clinton is focusing her fire on Donald Trump.
We should be breaking down barriers, not building walls. Our commander-in-chief has to be able to defend our country, not embarrass it.
Trump today firing off too, saying Clinton doesn't have the strength or energy to be president, recycling an attack line that's become one of his favorites.
By the way, Hillary's low energy, okay? She's low energy.
She doesn't have the strength
Or the stamina.
She's got no strength. She's got no stamina.
No, she doesn't.
Clinton earlier told me she's ready.
He can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. If he wants to focus on me and talk about me, that's his choice.
Tonight, Clinton closer than ever to locking up this race. And when that happens, she said she will ask Bernie Sanders for help.
I would hope to be able to enlist Bernie in helping me reach out to his supporters.
Sanders still defiant.
Don't let people tell you that you can't think big.
The Vermont senator would need to win every remaining primary state by nearly 40 points in order to clinch the nomination. The path to victory for him now next to impossible.
And Cecilia Vega joined us tonight as well. Cecilia, pretty steep climb there for Bernie Sanders. And when you talked to Hillary Clinton, she made it clear this is his decision to make.
That's right, David. She said even if his prolonged presence in this race ends up hurting her in the end, she told me, quote, I'm never going to tell anybody to step out. David?
Cecilia Vega with us again tonight. Thank you, Cecilia. Next from Maryland tonight, new details about a chaotic gun battle right outside a police station. We reported earlier this week that Officer Jakai Colson, undercover and out of uniform at the time, was reportedly killed by friendly fire. Well, tonight, the police chief now saying the preliminary investigation reveals what they feared, that it was a fellow officer who shot him. Here's ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas now.
The tragic death of Detective Ja'Kai Colson has shaken the Prince George's County Police Department to its core. Today, the fears that a fellow officer was responsible were confirmed. Police say one of Colson's colleagues shot him because he perceived a threat, apparently thinking Colson was one of the suspects.
The shot that struck and killed Detective Colson was deliberately aimed at him by another police officer. There's no intention, as I have seen the facts, to indicate any malice.
Colson, in plain clothes and an unmarked car, was killed during an exchange of gunfire when police responded to the attack. On Monday, I asked the chief about the pain of knowing that one of his own officers may have mistakenly shot another.
You struck another defender down? That's particularly devastating.
Police must now resolve critical questions, including how and why this mistake was made and how tragedies like this can be prevented in the future. David?
Pierre Thomas in Washington tonight. Pierre, thank you. We turn next here to the dangerous weather on the move tonight. Tornadoes and winter weather battering the upper Midwest, turning deadly now. These swirling clouds, an ominous warning in western Illinois, tornado sirens sounding the alarm in several states. The powerful winds ripping up trees, damaging homes. Also the snow and icy roads, this tractor trailer jackknifing. ABC's Alex Perez with the threats across the country tonight.
Tonight, in parts of the Midwest, winter refusing to let go. In Duluth, Minnesota, the driver of this pickup losing control on I-35. In Wisconsin, one passenger killed after a car and semi collide on I-39. This time lapse capturing the dangerous lightning overnight, one strike setting this Iowa dorm on fire, another revealing this funnel cloud in Illinois. One twister ripping a 5-mile scar through Rock Island County.
It's going to be a year before I can get back here with my family and neighbors.
Meanwhile, in the south, a never-ending flood emergency. ABC's Philip Mena is in Deweyville, Texas.
The Sabine River is running wild again tonight. This is the worst flooding in southeast Texas since Hurricane Ike. Nearby, Interstate 10, a major artery, overrun with water, causing travel chaos.
In Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana, cleanup underway as the waters finally recede. About 2,000 homes damaged there alone.
And David, back here in Illinois, there's actually a home underneath this huge pile of rubble. And take a look at this tree, all kinds of debris, even a bike flying along with it. The cleanup just beginning here. David?
Alex, thank you. We turn overseas tonight, in the U.S. targeting North Korea with new sanctions tonight for its nuclear and ballistic missile activity. And it comes on the same day that a visibly shaken American college student, Otto Warmbier, was paraded in front of the cameras there and sentenced to 15 years of hard labor, accused of trying to steal a political banner. This afternoon, the State Department now condemning the conviction, the administration calling for his immediate pardon and release. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Wednesday. The brazen prison break, inmates escaping using a hijacked helicopter. Take a look at this, the chopper waiting on the rooftop. Two prisoners struggling, though, to climb the rope to get to it. That was only the first problem with their getaway. Also, Brian Ross standing by his investigation on the air ambulances that come to your rescue after you've had a crash or an accident. What they tell you and what they don't, and it could cost you thousands. And the young basketball star, look at this, hitting a buzzer beater from half court. The crowd goes wild, but that was just his first play. You're not going to believe this, and he's right here tonight.
Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats, 8 layers of wheat and one that's sweet to satisfy the adult and kid in all of us.
We are young, we run green, see our friends, see the sights, feel alright.
Nutritious wheat for the adult you've grown into and delicious sweet for the kid you'll never outgrow. Feed your inner kidult with Frosted Mini Wheats. Try new Kellogg's Mini Wheats Harvest Delights with sweet drizzle and bits made with real fruit.
Disney's Zootopia. It's big both here and worldwide.
Don't expect us to apologize for it.
Which is no small potatoes, and it hit 99 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is kind of a big deal.
It's quite simply a great time at the movies. Disney's Zootopia. Rated PG.
I accept I'm not 22. I accept I'm not the rower I used to be. I even accept I have a higher risk of stroke due to AFib, a type of irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. But what I won't accept is getting out there with less than my best. So if I can go for something better than warfarin, I will. Eliquis. Eliquis reduced the risk of stroke better than warfarin. Plus, it had significantly less major bleeding than warfarin. Eliquis had both. That really mattered to me.
Don't stop taking Eliquis.